Matthew Nicol with respect to smart precision farming and agriculture. Good morning, sir. Over to you.
Am I heard?
You are.
All right, I'll speak very fast. This is on smart precision farming and smart precision agriculture. Next slide, please. So my concerns are quite clear: the safety of food and water for human consumption, along with the tools and technologies used to grow food, and the industry standards from the ISO, IEC, and the Standards Council of Canada pertaining to what humans consume and the technology implemented. Next slide, please. So this also would be relevant to your Growing Healthy Places agenda I learned about shortly before this. Next slide, please. So policy horizons is basically, so they define precision and smart farming. You want to go back one slide, by the way. It defines precision and smart farming as a combination of technology.
Can you just hang on one second, please?
Mr. Chair, I don't think it's fair to make him do 5 minutes. I think the others are 5 minutes. Your report is quite extensive. We're going to give you 10 minutes.
You can slow down.
If the chair agrees, and you don't have to bend down like that. You can stand up.
Thanks very much. Thanks for your patience and explaining everything to me. Thanks. Wow, okay. Awesome. I'm not hunched over now. So I get to save my back too. So precision and smart farming basically is a combination of technologies that could influence or alter how agriculture industries function and how and where we grow food. Agricultural productivity could become more precise with technology, from robots inspecting individual plants to identifying pests and diseases or herding farm animals, and data optimizing fertilizer inputs to blockchain-enabled origin tracing, and this would also include indoor vertical farms and such like that. Policy Horizons, by the way, is ran by a Crystal Vander Elst, who is a member of these standards organizations, the IEC in particular, and she's also CEO of the Global Foresight Group and former head of strategic foresight for the World Economic Forum. So some of the technologies involved in industry or agriculture 4.0, including CRISPR, which is gene editing technology. So you have robotics, the Internet of Things, cyber physical systems like mixed or augmented reality, and then also digital twins and blockchain are technologies involved. So this right here, smart farming, this is a picture from an IEC document, in particular from World Standards Day 2023, written by Francois Collier of the Standards Council of Canada. So with overlap to smart farming, you have all these different terms here: genomics, breeding, etc., and then urban farming, which is a term used in the Mississauga Smart City Master Plan. And in particular, they get into all kinds of areas from biotech, genomics, et cetera, et cetera. So a local example to Mississauga would be Vive Crop Protection, who use nanotechnology in their patented allosperse delivery system. And the best way to compare it is to the COVID mRNA gene therapy technology, because it's like a drug delivery system, so to speak, into the corresponding areas necessary, whether we're dealing with pesticides, something for the soil, something for the plants, etc. I'm just going to skip this slide because I kind of said that. So the ISO Technical Committee 229 on nanotechnologies in particular here, basically this would be relevant to the Mississauga Smart City Plan in terms of environmental sensors, biotechnology, and quantum computing, and that sort of a thing. And also this is ran by the British Standards Organization, who uses the definition for smart city in your Mississauga Smart City Master Plan. So from the National Research Council of Canada mentions a few different things, but I'm just going to touch on anaerobic digestion, which basically, in the absence of oxygen and through extreme heat, they break down biodegradable material, like this could include food waste and stuff like that, in order to create those kinds of sensors and stuff like that that would be in the Mississauga Smart City Master Plan. So now back to, whoops. Okay, Okay, next slide. Sorry about that. So then here, back to policy horizons from an article, Biodigital Today and Tomorrow. They start talking about lab-grown food and 3D printing, as well as something called nutrigenomics, which is the relationships between gene, nutrition, and health in order to make people have supposedly better health, diet, and lifestyle choices based off their genetic profile. That would be through their biobanked digital twin. If you want, I can elaborate more later. So who needs standardization? This is again from that same IEC document before that brought up smart farming. So they bring up gene engineering of plants and animals and goes into cellular farming and remote sensing, plus using supply chains to achieve food security. So supply chains, hence blockchain. And then here, another article from Policy Horizons. It gets into the sensors, once again, you know, for tracing the growth of livestock, crops, and that sort of a thing, and genetic tailoring and producing food in a lab, like I said earlier. And then it also gets into something called synthetic biology, which is where they create bioproducts of sorts, which could be anything from food, fuels, smart devices, etc. If you want to learn more about synthetic biology, I would suggest reading Indigenous Perspectives on Biodigital Convergence from Suzanne Brandt of the First Nations Technical Institute, who's also worked with Policy Horizons. So all of these standards, as you can see, smart farming in the right corner there, basically all of these various things revolve around standards built towards something called the Biodigital Convergence. And then getting into Canada's national quantum strategy, basically. All I'm getting at here is that Canada is a world leader in the application of ground-based sensors. That's what you can take from this slide, but you guys can look over the presentation as you will. So ISO Technical Committee 147. So these technical committees have many nations, standards organizations working together in order to build those international standards that we, you know, follow at a local level. Hence, you know, think globally, act locally, right? So the quality of water intended for human consumption and use, industrial processing, food production and recreation, etc. This technical committee on biotechnology would deal with things, for instance. And then these are some of the relevant standards and some of the technical committees involved. This has to do with DNA right here. Sorry, I just kind of got to plow through this fast, as you know. More relevant standards and stuff relevant to biobanking, like I was getting at earlier. And then, yeah, next slide. So then unmanned aircrafts and agricultural electronics play into the whole smart farming thing revolving around the biodigital convergence. And then data-driven agri-food systems, this technical committee used the term urban farming, which is once again in your Mississauga Smart City Master Plan. And then here they talk about remote sensing and stuff like that I was saying at earlier. I'm just gonna plow right through. And this technical committee is on the blockchain here, and blockchain is, like I said, in industry or agriculture 4.0 and mentioned in the Smart City Master Plan as it relates to IT, AI, the Internet of Things, and different kinds of environmental sensors. And then you get at a standardization in supply chains. So once again, goes back to the blockchain with the whole supply chain. And I just want to say in relation to nutrigenomics before, when we were talking about like customizing a food somebody, they would use a quantum digital twin in order to, and a quantum digital twin with your biobanked information to be able to customize that same food plan for you. And this would also pertain to precision medicine, but that's for a conversation for another day. And then I'll skip this slide right here. ISO Technical Committee 268, Sustainable Cities and Communities. So this one in particular here, I mean, it covers all the different kinds of technologies that I mentioned, from AI to mixed reality or Internet of Things, robotics and automation, sensors, urban agriculture and farming and stuff like that. And I want to say people can also ask me questions, but their questions would probably actually best be sent to Sean Slack, whose name is on the Smart City Master Plan in particular. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with them. Or if not, Patricia McCarney on the World Council on City Data, who's also worked with Vaughan and various other places as well in regards to, you know, building smart infrastructure. So now my last slide here. The Biodigital Convergence is also referred to as the Nano Bio Info Cogno Experiment. So nano meaning nanoscience and nanotechnology. Bio for biotechnology, biomedicine, and genetic engineering. Info for information technology, including advanced computing and communications. Cogno for cognitive science, including cognitive neuroscience. So I just want to say in my last 15 seconds or so that I care about food and water safety as well as humanity. And I don't think a lot of people have actually consented to the biodigital convergence, nor do I think a lot of people in here even know what that is. So I'll close with the truth is stranger than fiction, but with fiction, I stick to possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew, and I'm so glad the mayor said to add another 5 minutes because I was very detailed and very well done. Councillor Reid.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much for that presentation. You've piqued my interest, and I'm definitely going to do a deep dive on this because I read through your slides and I thought this is absolutely fascinating. So thank you for all of your work on that. You mentioned indoor vertical farms.
Correct. Can
you talk a little bit more about that in terms of Mississauga? Is there, do we have any? Is this something that you think there's an opportunity with? And because I'm really interested in the urban farming models, and that's one of the things that can work in Mississauga, no?
So I know that with the indoor farming, I know that AI is used a lot for being able to sense when, you got water on the plants or give them whatever sort of pesticide and that kind of a thing. But more appropriately, I don't know too much about vertical farming in particular, but just to kind of generalize with urban farming, it's no different than the rural in terms of, different application with biotechnology revolving around CRISPR and stuff like that, and I think gene editing is one of these areas that, is not exactly something that a whole lot of people know about and really I think would be concerned about. And also just in relation to those kinds of sensors like quantum dots and stuff like that, I didn't really get into this too much, but when this stuff is embedded into the soil, whether we're talking about graphene, biochar, quantum dots, etc., I mean, by the time that food makes its way to a grocery store or to, to the local farm or whatever, we're ingesting those things. So, I mean, really safe, just because somebody tells us it's safe, right?
So my second and final question then is around community gardens, education for young people, that sort of thing. Where does that tie into your presentation here in terms of how we can make this more grassroots and impact our communities?
Sorry, I missed the first part of that. Do you mind maybe either rephrasing or repeating that? Sorry.
Yeah, I'll try again a different way. How do community gardens play into this?
Well, everybody follows those international standards, right? It doesn't matter what city, what municipality, wherever we're talking about, hence, think globally, act locally, right? So I just think that it's very hard to dumb some of this stuff down, but I think that things need to be a little bit more clear and direct. I know that Mississauga has an open data policy, so to speak, but I'm willing to bet if you were to go around this room that not a whole lot of people would know a lot about, the use of the blockchain or the use of all these various technologies and different kinds of sensors and stuff like that. So I just think that there needs to be, a lot more transparency and openness about, rather than using, we're developing green technology, say we're 3D bioprinting this, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's a little more direct than...
Yeah.
So I just think maybe be a little more straightforward and also just really make sure that people know what's going on because, like I said, go around and ask anybody in this room who's heard of biodigital convergence until today. Maybe you guys have, because I know you guys, so.
Well, no, thank you for starting a very interesting conversation and dialogue. I appreciate you coming and joining us today.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry if I wasn't super clear with my answers and such. I'm doing my best.
You did a great job. Thank you.
Okay.
I will be the first to admit that I do not. There's another question, but I will be the first to admit that I do not. So thank you. Mayor Parrish.
Yes, thank you very much for coming. The first thing that Martin said when you walked in and we knew we were doing this because he read it last night carefully, as did I, twice.
Wow.
Kept getting lost, so I had to go back and start over again. He said he really enjoys seeing geniuses come forward. So thank you very much. You are a very bright fellow. I would recommend, rather than ask a question, that you go to the Peel Board. The Peel Board has a 200-acre piece of land on Highway 10.
Okay.
They're in the process of selling 33 acres so that they can raise $100 million to do an outdoor education center for the students of Peel. What they plan to do is exactly what you're talking about, less complicated, but maybe you can speed them up because the plan's been in the works for a very long time. 168 acres, they're going to do patches beside each other, one with pesticides, one without, one with fertilizer, one without. And I think you would fit in there perfectly. I think if you take this to the Peel Board and ask to delegate, ask them for 20 minutes. And because I think they're going to pay a lot of attention to what you're saying, and it might turn out something that you can do with some of this information and really make a difference there. So I highly recommend you call the Peel Board and ask to delegate, send them your material, and educate the people who are about to do this project.
Fair enough. It's just simply called the Peel Board, or is there a specific
You
name?
simply call the Peel Board.
Okay.
If you have any problems, call my office.
Okay.
And I will introduce you. And I was the school trustee. I was chair of the board at one point when we put that acres aside. It's 168 acres right now.
Right.
And there's water going through it and all kinds of amendments or things that they're going to do to make it more natural. So they need somebody like you.
Okay, yeah, well, thanks very much. I appreciate that. Is there anything else here, or?
No, I don't have any questions. It's way above my head.
Okay, all right, thanks very much, everyone. Should I stick around, or? Okay, all right.
You are free, but it's the Peel District School Board, so I just follow up with them. I think it's a great suggestion the mayor has provided you, and
Sure.
there's probably a good opportunity for you there. So do appreciate you coming and providing the detail, and that was really a great presentation. So, Councillor Reid, I'll ask you to move your seat. Thank you very much.
Could I also add,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Sure.
Chair.
No problem.
My staff is sitting up at the back table right there. They'll help you. They'll get you all the right things to do.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Receipt is moved by Councillor Reid. All in favor? That is carried. On to 7.2, speaking